I love letters. You're telling me these things make words? Like, I can throw around any combination of these symbols and it creates something that we can at least attempt to pronounce? That's sick as hell. I also love video games. The way that developers have created wholly immersive worlds for players to get lost in is just so impressive to me. They should honestly just name a game after a letter. Greatness could finally be paired with greatness. Fuck using a whole word or series of words. I bet the greatest game of all time can probably be titled after a single letter. Yeah! D is a game that I had always just kind of seen around. Like, I would see the box art here and there, or mention of it randomly while doing other things. It just kind of exists somewhere in the back of my mind at all times. One day I was scrolling through my 100% legal game machine and saw that it was on the PS1. I decided, sure, why not, and I gave it a go. And, it certainly is a video game that you can play. Should you play it? Well, that's for you to decide. You play as Laura Harris, a woman who heads to LA to save her father being famous American doctor Richter Harris. Richter had recently committed a violent, bloody, and random mass murder at the hospital he works at. He has now barricaded himself inside the hospital and taken multiple hostages, refusing any sort of contact with the police surrounding the building. Laura, reluctantly enough, heads inside, but upon entering the hospital, she is horrified at the brutality of the situation. As she slowly wanders further in, past all the dead bodies, she comes face to face with an odd warp in reality itself. Touching it brings her to an alternate dimension in which she is now trapped within a medieval castle. And now it's up to you to find your father and figure out the truth behind the madness. Sounds like a pretty good setup, right? Well, that's because it is. Like, honestly, the atmosphere and the vibes, despite the iffy 3D renderings, are pretty on point and they get you excited for the game itself. And that's very much needed, as the game itself is, well, it's not really a game per se. It functions more like an interactive movie. Think like a 3D Dragon's Lair. There's no saving, no combat, no mechanics, just kind of walking around and interacting with things. Oh, and you're in a 2-hour time limit, so don't fart around for too long. If you let that timer run out, then I don't know, you're bad or something. This game is immersive, for better or for worse. Every step you take as Laura plays out as an FMV cutscene. You don't press forward and then kind of glide to the next area. No, you watch every single agonizingly slow step Laura takes from a first-person perspective. This is a great way to build atmosphere at first, until you start solving puzzles. Then, this becomes the single most tedious thing I have ever done in any video game. By the time I hit this fucking rotating door puzzle, I was so ready for this game to be over. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Let's take it back a bit. This first area is a dining room with an upstairs section. Some slight jump scares and eerie scenes greet Laura as she solves some, albeit pretty simple puzzles. You also get Ghost Dad occasionally popping in to deliver the sleepiest voice acting I've heard in a minute.
Laura, go back. You must not cross over to this side. This is another world born of my own mind. Laura, go back. Come further and your world will be closed off from you. Laura, I'm...
Thanks for the warning, Ghost Dad. Unfortunately, I don't care. I use this bowl of water and a piece of paper to unlock a drawer, which gives me a spout to use on a barrel. The barrel then retracts some spikes on the wall nearby and opens a secret passage locked by a door that says 78. So I go find a mechanism behind another locked door that I crank to the number 78. Then I take the ring inside of that mechanism off of a dead body. Congrats, Laura, you've looted a corpse. I hope the police outside don't find out about this one. While nowadays the graphics of this game are nothing to write home about, the effects at the time were actually pretty spectacular. I mean, for a game originally released on the 3DO, this is pretty impressive. However, age has not been kind to D, and Laura herself is the biggest example of this. While some emotions come out pretty clearly, more intricate emotions have a harder time coming across or just don't come across at all. Because of this, upon opening the 78 door, I'm greeted with the least tense escape sequence I've ever seen. Again, I'm sure this was tense for 1995, but man is it just kinda silly now. We get some more warnings from Ghost Dad as we explore this new area. A little girl smiles at us. We find some dead bodies, place a book, and enter a secret staircase. This leads to the second most annoying part of this game, the circular room. See, after we ascended the secret staircase, we get locked into this small, cramped dome of a room with no way out. Our only option is to turn a single crank in front of us, so we pull it. Nothing happens. We pull it again. Nothing happens. We pull it again, and we realize it is actually shifting the rooms around us. This means that when you want to access a new place, you must watch Laura crank that soldier boy in real fucking time every time you want to go to a new room. If I hadn't pulled up a guide by this point, I would have probably just called it quits here. Again, I like the idea of having it play out in real time and building that slow burn atmosphere, but this shit is just so slow. Like, Laura, you can pick up the pace a little bit. This is atrocious to actually try and play. Anyways, by cranking your hog enough times, you'll find a room with a spike pit, a room that leads outside to a locked door and some statues, a room that leads to a stained glass window, and a room that leads to a bunch of suits of armor and a pit. I want to take a moment to praise the sound design real quick. Despite all my complaints, this game has some really good audio and music. While it can be a little loud at times, it adds to the atmosphere of the game quite well. They did a great job using it to create a feeling of unease in the player. Back to Laura. You get to the end of the armor room to find a pit when, oh no, the armor is alive! Here comes the first most annoying part of this game, the QTE event against this fucking guy. See, you have to press the corresponding buttons as they show up to avoid falling into this pit. That's right, the sword that he has, the giant broadsword, doesn't kill you or even hurt you. There's no health system or anything like that. He just kind of pushes you back into this pit, so you have to watch Laura crawl all the way back up just to try again. I did this so many times, over and over again, and I'm not gonna lie, I ended up using save states because this timing is atrocious. Anyways, after this awful QTE, you get the sword, use it at the outdoor area to open the tower, and go up the tower. Going up there reveals a telescope designed to aim at the zodiac constellations. You note the color of the constellations for Sagittarius and Aquarius, the two zodiac statues outside, go back downstairs, press the buttons on those statues that correspond to the color of their constellation, and see an animation that plays that shows that the spike pit that was, holding that chest is now safe. So it's time for more hog cranking action! Once you've turned that crank enough times, you get back to the chest room, open the chest, get fucking strapped, and then crank it one last time so you can blast open that stained glass window. This reveals that you're... Oh, sorry. Let me put in disc 3. Forgot we were on PlayStation. Just give me a minute here. Okay. Anyways, this reveals that you're in a big tower, and you have to climb outside to get to the top of it. Upon reaching the top, you see a long hallway shrouded in darkness. You head forward only to be greeted by Ghost Dad once again. He warns you one last time to, not come and visit him, and just casually reveals that your bloodline is cursed by Dracula. Get it? Get it, D? The game's called D for Dracula, do you get it? D. But because you're a strong, independent woman who doesn't need a man to tell her how to live, you ignore your father and keep walking. When you reach the dead end, Laura gets this crazy psychic vision. See, I haven't mentioned this to you yet, I've been kind of keeping a secret from you, but there are these little colorful bugs you can find as you play the game. Every time you find one, Laura just trips the fuck out and has these strange visions. The visions are loud, jarring, uncomfortable, and truthfully pretty well executed. When piecing them all together, it shows what appears to be Laura stabbing her mother with a kitchen knife. But the final vision, well, I'll just let it play in its entirety. Mild epilepsy warning, by the way. That's right. Laura had killed her own mother and then consumed her some time ago, but her father erased that memory from her mind. But now, these repressed memories are coming back, and it's time you faced your father once and for all. You solve one more puzzle by entering a hidden doorway and moving some cogs around to get a ball in a certain place. After going up these glowing stairs, you find your father, who reveals everything we just learned, bloodline cursed by Dracula, you killed your mom, he erased the memories, you consumed her, yada yada yada. But he does it dramatically. Ooh. He then starts to transform into Dracula, and this is where you have two options. You can walk up to him and get absorbed, granting him ultimate power and giving you the bad ending, or you can just fucking shoot him. This isn't implied to be a magical gun or anything, it's just the normal gun. But it works, and your father turns back to normal as you run up to cradle him in your arms. As he bleeds out, he says that he always loved her. He tries to say his final wish, but dies before he can let it out. And Laura doesn't say anything in response. This incredibly sad scene is then undercut by some really weird editing choices. Finally, it fades to black. As this sick-ass rock song plays during the credits, and we see the people who made this game. And honestly, I couldn't ask for a better ending. You can tell by looking at the credits that this game was a passion project for these guys. And it paid off, as D experienced positive reviews and decent enough sales. They even got to use Laura in another game called Enemy Zero for the Sega Saturn that was also pretty well received. Being entirely FMV and fully 3D rendered, it definitely showed a glimpse into what a more cinematic game could look like at the time, and probably sprouted some seeds for the direction games would take going forward. However, the extremely slow movement and aged 3D graphics definitely hold the game back from being a landmark horror title. Combine that with mediocre at best voice acting, and I can see why this game has been slowly forgotten over time. That being said, the visions Laura has, particularly the last one, are iconic in their own right, and the other FMV scenes have their own charm to them that is hard not to appreciate. Overall, it's a short, bittersweet, and uncanny experience that any horror game fan should try if they have the time to do so. But you know what could make this game even better though? If they added a number to it. Something like... No fucking way! Hey, I'm in the middle of like editing this, but shout out fucking Quagmire Toilet Gaming for having this video that I needed. Fucking, I didn't expect a channel like this to have what I need, so thanks, I guess.